There lies the orb, far, far away. Hey, she finally looked at me.
She looked up.
Whoa!
Spells.
What's going on? You got some iron stones going around there? What's going on, lady?
I don't know. I don't think the people can see our screen.
You could have just pointed to the map. You could have just put. You didn't have to use magic to do your little laser pointer thing.
It's all about casting the spell, dude.
Now, what will you be paying me to fetch the orb?
Yeah, people are confused because they can't see the
There
screen.
lies gold and gem enough for any man.
What's Phil going on about? He's just weird,
Take what you will, but return the orb to me. Okay, well, I can do that. You'll pay me now or I'll never get it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and this is just my philosophy, but if someone is hovering in the air cross-legged, I typically don't get sassy with them.
Especially when they do this whole...
No, wait.
Paya thing.
See you later, King Graham.
Dude had some broad shoulders.
So was that a portal? She just made a tiny portal on the map and then shoved him through there?
That's why she couldn't just point at the map, dude.
Live or die, but bring the orb to me. So if I'm dead, I can't bring you the orb.
You're not dead. You just got...
Hey, I teleported. That's impressive.
Odds blood? Who's odd?
My insides feel all twisted about. Well, that's just a little tiny castle. This will take me 5 minutes.
It is kind of tiny.
Look at how tiny that thing is. We'll be fine.
That is a tiny castle.
At
At any rate, wow, that's some walking.
Hello.
Welcome to this stream.
Welcome to the Friday Beamdog stream, where we talk about Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition, Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, and oh, I just pushed a guy into the water.
You just punched out an orc, dude.
Icewind Dale Enhanced Edition, Planescape Torrent Enhanced Edition, and Siege of Dragonspear Enhanced Edition. Basically, we've got a lot of enhanced editions going on, and also, actually, I guess Siege of Dragonspear wasn't called an enhanced
Beyond
edition.
inventing the Enhanced Edition brand, we have milked that cow quite well.
You think you can't get blood from a stone? You're not squeezing hard enough.
That is
All right,
true.
so we're here to talk about Dungeon Hack Enhanced Edition, which is, of course, the next project that we're going to be releasing. You may have heard some news about Neverwinter Nights. All lies, deceptions. You should know that by now.
Too much work.
Too much work.
This,
however, is just the right amount of classic D&D, you know, straight... Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Kapow. I don't think that helps and does.
We got some more enhancing to do, folks.
Obviously. Obviously.
So welcome to the stream. Today we have some news about Neverwinter Nights and some very, very exciting news about Siege of Dragonspear.
So you might notice that we have devices.
Devices, as
devices.
What is this?
As they were. That is an Android thing.
Some manner of Sarn-sung device.
Sarn-sung. Yes.
Yeah, I believe this is an S8 Plus.
An S8 Plus.
What's going on in here? Hey, there's a game on here.
There is a game on there.
Wait, let me get to a good part. Let's find a conversation.
Okay, find a good part.
Unpause. Well, what's that? Why, that's Siege of Dragonspear on an Android phone.
It's
here,
probably so small that
the
hand of Dan will come from the sky and hold it.
And what's this?
Well done, the hand of Dan.
Also Siege of Dragonspear on a tablet.
Yeah, so we're going to ship this puppy.
Yeah.
How about next week, Phil? Let's ship it. Let's ship it
on March 8th.
March 8th next week.
March 8th next week. All right.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah. All right. So March 8th, you will be able to buy Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear on iOS and Android for how much are we selling this thing for? 10
bones.
Bucks? Yeah.
10 bones USD.
10 bucks USD. It's yours to play and hold and keep forever. Siege of Dragonspear on mobile is actually a standalone title, so it's not an expansion pack for Baldur's Gate. It's a standalone adventure that you can get into without needing to buy anything else.
Yep.
Now, of course, because this is a Baldur's Gate game, you're going to get to import your character from Baldur's Gate 1 to Siege of Dragonspear to Baldur's Gate 2, and it's going to be awesome. But you don't have to buy an expansion.
No, not at all. I see a comment there saying, Siege of Dragonspear on a tablet, and they said it couldn't be done. Actually, it couldn't. We couldn't make it an expansion to Baldur's Gate, so it's actually standalone. It's a separate app.
So you were right.
So you got Baldur's Gate, you got Siege of Dragonspear, you got Baldur's Gate 2, and you'll be able to play them through in that order. Your character will move between them, and much happiness will flow.
A lot of happiness.
A lot of happiness flowing.
So Siege of Dragonspear on mobile has a ton of improvements and additions. For those of you who have played Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition, you're probably familiar with some of the cooler upgrades we've added, like that little sidebar that lets you easily get through conversations when your hand is on the side of the tablet. We've added a whole ton of UI niceties that we pulled over from PST. We've fixed tons and tons of issues from the desktop version. And it's just in a really, really, really good state right now.
Okay.
And when that 2.5 patch comes, you know, the desktop version also is going to be massively upgraded. So Siege of Dragonspear is looking really, really good.
It will be. It will be pretty awesome.
I'm very excited for people to play it. We've modified some quests. We've changed some things. I think people are going to be very, very excited.
I think people will be excited.
And
I think it is worthy of their excitement.
Speaking of that patch that we mentioned earlier, the 2.5 update for all of the Infinity Engine games on all platforms. So last stream we had talked about we're going to be doing an update.
I wasn't here last stream.
You weren't here last stream. That's right.
Totally
Kristen
skipped last
was
stream.
here, and she put you to shame. I'm sorry to say it, but we might need to make a permanent change here, Trent.
You think so?
I mean, I don't want to pull coach here, but you got to know when to pull players out of the game.
Dude. I know your performance wasn't that great, but it's okay. Buck up, little camper. You can keep the
things are getting heated over here. The knife's gonna come out. Hey, what's up with what's up with all the junk?
So today,
it's not junk.
today the stabby stab of today is the Wakazushi that I was working on.
I remember this.
This is a 18-inch L6. So what's cool about this thing is L6 is like a crazy. Don't do that. You'll lose a finger. So it's sharp now. So Phil was lucky that he
don't do that. Oh, right.
Yeah, he barely scraped it. What's neat about it is it's super thin, it's super light, and it's L6, so it's like crazy bendy and pops right back. It's a really tough steel. It's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it. I haven't polished it yet. I was just kind of taking the blade down and sharpening it, seeing what I could get out of it. So the next stage is polish it up, put a handle on it, call her done. The next thing I have here is a box.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box, Trent?
What's in the box? In the box are a bunch of ball bearings. Now the question is, what am I doing with ball bearings?
You're making a bike. He's making a bike.
And whiteout.
He's making a white bike.
First person who can figure out what that is gets a T-shirt. Why am I doing that? What am I going to make?
So you take the white out and you switch it around a bunch so that you can inhale it, and then you huck the ball bearings at cars as they go by.
Phil's giving us insight into his childhood.
It's a surefire way to meet the local sheriff. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, Phil is that's a dark place, Phil.
So we have a question from the audience regarding Siege of Dragonspear standalone. Was it standalone because of the 4 GB limit for iOS applications? Because that's good for me, as I'm always struggling with space on my tablet. Yeah, actually, that's pretty much why.
That was probably the major issue. Is, oh my God, how do we fit 8 gigs of content into a 4 gig box?
I mean, it's bad enough getting that. Even at the 4 gig limit, it's a pain to get that much data on the device. But like, that's pretty much the main reason.
That said, I mean, so back in the day when Beamdog first got started, we did MDK2 on the Wii.
How small did we get it?
So MDK2 was it was on a 600 meg Sega Dreamcast disc.
Yeah.
And it was a little bigger on the PC. We got it under 30 meg for the Dreamcast. Or sorry, for Wii.
Because the Wii Play requirements, you had to be under 40?
Under 40. Yeah. And we got it just, I believe we were just under 40, like high 30s.
So, I mean, you can, if you're really paying attention to stuff like the audio and you get it real close to the textures, you can tell, obviously, because you're not going to get that much compression for free. But we did it, man.
Yeah.
Well, Cam did it, really.
So Cam crushed it. Yeah. He learned it. It's like, how many bytes do I need to represent vertices? Too many. Ooh, there we go. Somewhere between goes to complete shit and still looks pretty good.
Figure out what'll break it and then back off a little.
So the answer to what I was building with this, somebody said homebrew Damascus steel. That is partially correct. Partially enough that I'll give it to you. I am going to be making some canister Damascus based on 52-100 ball bearing steel and 1095 powdered steel. So those should make a pretty cool combo. I believe the pattern they refer to as dragon scale. So we'll see what it looks like.
Topical.
Dragon scale, yeah. We'll see what it looks like. I'm giving it at this point about 30% odds of it successfully working out, and about 70% odds of me making a pile of slag that is mostly useless. So by revision 3, making piles of useless slag, I'll probably have a dragon scale Damascus thing that actually works.
A dragon scale Damascus thing. Could you make me a dragon scale Damascus just hunk of steel that I can smack people around with?
That just seems so pointless. I mean, you could just do that with a stick.
But I want to know that it's a high quality.
I have dragon scale block of metal.
That's fair. That's
fair.
Fair.
I got a question here on the blacksmithing. When are you going to make a celestial fury?
How do you make a? I mean, I understand you start with a katana. That's the first part.
So I think I have katana phobia. The reason is because everybody makes katanas. So I always feel like if everybody else is doing it, why should I do it?
And it's hard to draw a katana when you're on the subway and someone has besmirched the honor of your lady. You need a lot of draw space for a katana, you know? It's a big arm movement.
That's where the wakizashi comes in.
That's true. That's why he's making it.
That's why katana is the big, the wakizashi is the small.
Actually, I made subway fighting.
I made this because I had a 18-inch long bar of steel that I was going to try squashing out and see what happened.
Now, if my memory is correct, the Celestial Fury had a spirit trapped within it. Let's find out. In-game description.
Here's another reason I will never make Celestial Fury is because the hilt. All of the hilts in Baldur's Gate are so bloody complicated. How am I supposed to make that stuff?
Oh man, I was right. It does have the spirit of a dude.
Like scroll up on that. Like have a look at that. Look at the hilts on that. How is a dude like me supposed to make a hilt like that? That's
okay,
crazy.
So what you do is you take an octopus and you dip it in resin. And you make that shape,
okay.
And then once it's hardened,
you take his corpse and you pose him.
Yeah, and then you hot glue it to the hilt, and there you go. Like
I'm thinking, dead octopus in resin is not a great handle.
Listen, man, you'd be surprised how much of the Forgotten Realms is made out of paper mache.
Nah.
It's a shockingly high amount, upwards of 5%.
Dude.
All right, what else do we have today?
I was thinking about trying to do the Holy Avenger, but again, I looked at the hilt and I'm like, so not going there.
I remember that thing being like, even if you got two hands in there.
Yeah, Carzimir.
I spelled it wrong.
Yes, you did. Like, look at that.
Like, I'm sorry, you're gonna cut your hand. That's going to happen.
Where's the second hand gonna fit in there?
Well, you see, you get one hand. And then the other hand goes on like the cross guard so that you can stab and then shove with your back. They didn't think this through.
No.
I'm sorry, but you know.
See, one of the things is I am always about function over form. So I will always make things that don't look quite as sexy, but are very, very functional.
I'm surprised that it's only 7 pounds though. The hilt alone looks like it's bejeweled heavily.
I could see it. I could ballpark this 18-inch thing. Probably, I'd say maybe 1.5 pounds. It's light. It's light, dude. It's so light and thin. I was testing it out in the shop with a cardboard box, and I was like, I'm going to hit the cardboard box. Whack. Did I hit it? Ooh, it went right through.
So you might think that this story is not true, but it is in fact very true. In Trent's office, where I also have my desk, when we're discussing things, he'll take out one of these knives, and he'll just start slicing through cardboard. If I go in there right now, you'll find multiple boxes that are just hacked up. And he does it to emphasize points where it's like, no, you're going to take less money.
Yeah, see,
and
I like to be illustrative with my discussion points. And my kukri is so bloody sharp that it's like, whoosh, and it just shaves narrow little strips off.
I understand.
And it's like you got to cut, Phil. You got to cut.
Think about the perspective of, say, a junior employee coming in there, and you're wielding an axe and just sort of tossing it around.
I just used the kukri. The axe is a little wild.
And then they turn behind them and see a wall of various medieval weapons ready to go in, killing capacity.
Well, we don't have the wall yet, but I am running out of space on top of the counter, so we're definitely going to have to make that bigger.
I'm just saying, you're going to get hostile workplace comments. People are going to start getting worried.
Dude, it's not a hostile workspace until I punch somebody and hang them on the wall with a sword. Then it's hostile.
As long as you're swinging swords at people and saying, hey, I'm not touching you, it's no big deal. Should we give away a T-shirt?
Well, first we should give a T-shirt away to the guy who correctly guessed the canister Damascus.
Oh, right. I guess we
So
could, yeah.
Dan did. Dan's gotcha. So the next winner of the T-shirt is Ragsig.
Ragsig.
Well done, Ragsig.
There you go.
I love your name. It makes me
You got a
happy.
T-shirt, buddy. We're going to request, can you guys look at getting partnered with Twitch so that I can drop the quality of the stream down a little, because there's lots of stuttering for those of us on bad connections. I don't know a lot about Twitch, but I assume that we will look into that and see if that's a possibility.
Dan will look into it. We will make Dan look into it. Also known as the hand of Dan that comes from behind the camera occasionally.
Oh, right. We were supposed to also mention the 2.5 update. I got sidetracked here. So we're doing a localization update, as I mentioned on the previous stream. So we had said, I believe March 5th, we're going to start updating that thing, and that is still the case. We're not going to do all of the games at once. I'm going to stagger them a little bit. So Icewind Dale's going to get the first loc update, then BG2, then BG, then Siege. We're doing this because I don't really want to overwhelm our beta testers with 4 staggeringly huge games at the same
Go
time.
and help us test 300 hours of RPG-ness.
Hey, we just released 4 Skyrims. Go test them out, see if they're good.
Yeah.
You have a short period of time. Make it happen.
Yep.
So we're going to spread things out a little bit. My feeling is that if people have waited, 18 years to play these games in their language, they could wait a couple more weeks to make sure that we do it right.
Doing it right is always worth the time.
Doing it right is always worth the time.
What's up with the cats, dude?
Well, you were talking about your blacksmithing stuff. I felt left out, so I thought I would, show people the cat calendar that I pull off every day. And I give people here at Beamdog one of the pages as a little prize, and who gets it each day is random. So if you out there are interested in receiving one of these special prizes that I will sign the back of and write a short story for you, you have to win a contest. And that contest is, of course, make a damn module that kills me in hilarious ways. I've been asking for weeks and weeks and weeks, and no one is doing it. And now I have to sweeten the pot with pictures of cats.
I'm going to totally take you up on that, Phil.
Guys, I'm not kidding here. Build a Neverwinter module that kills me in hilarious ways. You will be rewarded.
Hilarious and not completely horribly unfair.
Look at this guy. Look, he just looks mischievous. It's adorable.
It's a cat, dude.
I got this calendar as a gift. It would be rude not to maximize its use.
True that.
Let's talk about Neverwinter Nights.
Let's talk about Neverwinter.
All right, guys. This is what you tuned in for, not to hear us BS for half an hour.
Well, the other thing we forgot to talk about is we are hiring. We are currently still on a hiring spree. Yep. We have some programmer positions and a producer/programmer position that we're still...
Designer/programmer.
Everybody/programmer.
Well, let's talk about that for a little while. So why do we like people who can program?
Well, typically programmers are trained up and have a fairly logical mindset. And they tend to think in systems and system design. So as a result, it tends to pay off well using them as scripters or plot design. Well, having the understanding of how to actually build something helps a lot in production, because you're like, oh, I'm going to ask the dude to do the unreasonable thing, which requires 3 unreasonable things before he can get to the unreasonable thing. I'll wait on that. I'll assign the first unreasonable thing first. Now,
BioWare, somebody who was both a designer and a programmer, was often referred to, I think this was the title, technical designer.
Tech designer, yes.
And that is kind of what we do here as well. So we have programming positions, and these are your guys that are getting into low-level C, C++ programming. And there's tech design people who operate in kind of that middle layer.
Typically scripting language. So Neverwinter script is basically C with some safeties put around it.
Sandboxing, if you will.
Yeah. Doesn't allow you to read-write files, and it doesn't allow you to do infinite loops. So much safer that way. That was one of our fears with Neverwinter, was that someone would create a Neverwinter virus, send it out, and then it would blow up somebody's machine and the world would hate us.
I think it's still a fear, but it's been 18 years and nobody's been able to do it, so pretty good security.
Or it blew up in such an amazing way it took out everybody involved.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe there's a part where it completely breaks and then fixes itself later. But yeah, so we're hiring. So if you know somebody who fits the bill, head over to beamdog.com/jobs and you can apply. We're primarily looking for people who are in Edmonton or willing to locate. So mostly going after Canadians, but we're willing to interview a lot of different people. And just to build on Trent's point earlier, the reason that we like designers who can also do programming is that we really like people who can implement the things that they design.
Yeah, if you can walk on both sides of the fence, you can look at the code and you can look at the design side. Quite often you can really do some pretty awesome things.
We don't need somebody to generate, beautiful design documents that then don't get read, because I can do that. I can produce tons of documents that nobody reads. I do it all day long. But having someone who can implement, that's what we're after. So Neverwinter Nights. This week we are updating the build on Steam and Beamdog.
We are. The rumor we're actually going to skip 8161 because there was a couple bugs in there, so we actually never shipped it. So we are going straight to 8162.
That's right.
8162. Majority of it is just bug fixes. The input player name UI was covered by the Direct Connect UI. It no longer is. LAN connections now work as expected. The toolset now remembers window positions between starts. And servers displayed in the History Favorites panel now gray out properly when they are unknown to the master server. So some good regressions there, fixing up stuff, especially on the multiplayer side. That's kind of where we've been putting the effort in.
So what's it been like going back and getting the toolkit, or sorry, the tool set to finally rebuild?
Yeah, let's just. Sometimes you don't want to talk about.
There is a reason that Obsidian and CD Projekt both replaced the Neverwinter editor when they took stewardship of Aurora. So C++ builder, Borland C++ builder is what the tool set was built in.
And it was an older version. I think we've updated it to like Rev 6.
And even at that time, it had kind of fallen out of favor. So very wisely, Obsidian, I think they moved to C# or something.
Yeah, they did.
For their editor. And then CD Projekt, they named their editor Genie, DJINNI, and it was also a rewrite. And I think it is C# as well. But
no idea.
It looks like it's that era. Anyways, yeah, they made correct decisions. Let's just say that.
The Neverwinter toolset is awesome for its time. It did amazing things that other things couldn't do, and we're totally going to carry that puppy forward. Now, we got a question here, and I'm not sure if this is a BG question or a Neverwinter question. It seems, I'm guessing Neverwinter because of the 2-3 second. I don't know if this has been addressed. Are there plans to resolve the inherent exploitable bugs with stealth, i.e. being able to see stealth creatures when first transitioning for 2 to 3 seconds?
Is this when a creature spawns in and then immediately activates stealth? You can see them.
No, I think it's when you area transition in and then somebody pops into stealth.
So as you load, if you've got a sharp eye, you can spot where the hidden dudes are. Yeah, that should get fixed.
We should definitely poke that puppy.
If it's not already in the board to look at, we'll make sure it's in there because that is straight up a bug.
Here's another question about Neverwinter. You guys going to improve the sound quality of Neverwinter Nights? I see the game had some bad confusion with sound volume. I'm going to assume you mean the sound mastering, that certain sounds were mastered at different volume levels. We're going to look at it. We're going to kind of make a pass across it. We'll go through the archives, see if we've got higher quality versions of the sound. But Neverwinter is actually pretty decent for the quality of the sound in it. It's not like Baldur's Gate where it was like 11K mono audio. So we'll take a look. Again, if there's specific ones like footsteps that are a real bear, we can definitely talk about that. I mean, post it up.
Do you know if we got the master audio assets?
We have an ungodly pile of files that people have to dig through, and it's kind of Cthulhu-esque because there's like structures of structures of structures, and some of them are in parallel, and some of them have the same named files from different periods. It's just horrible. It's digging through that archive it's basically like it's like analyzing the defect of teams and trying to do version management even in a tool and outside of a tool at the same time. It's kind of nutty.
We have a question from the audience. Hey, why don't you guys make the module, why don't you make Josh Sawyer's Black Hound as a premium module? So for those who are unaware, many, 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 many years ago, this would have been 03, 04?
It was a while back.
A while back. There was chatter that Baldur's Gate 3 was going to come from, I guess it was still Black Isle back then.
It was.
And they actually ended up releasing some of their sample imagery that they were working on. So the Black Hound was going to be their take on Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3, the Black Hound ended up not going anywhere. I think they canceled it fairly early in pre-production. But they eventually released the story outline, like roughly what you would be doing.
Yeah, this was when Black Isle, the D&D rights transferred over to Atari at this point. So they lost access to the D&D license. Yeah. And therefore, Baldur's Gate.
So BG3, the Black Hound, was going to be a bit of a departure from BG 1 and 2. It was an all-new character, all-new story. It was a lot more grounded. It wasn't about like gods and deities and all that sort of stuff. It was about guilt, I think. Like the Black Hound is this entity made of guilt over something that you had done, and it sort of chases you through the game. And it was kind of an interesting high concept idea, but I don't think the module was ever...
I saw that Harry Potter movie.
Yes, the Dementors follow Abdel Adrian around.
No, it was the Hound. It was what's his name? Sirius Black.
Oh, right. I'm going to be brutally honest here. I have seen just the Harry Potter movies long ago.
That's because you don't have children. If you have children, you will totally watch.
I might have kids. I don't know.
All of the Harry Potter movies. We basically watched like 1 through 8. So many times it was just ridiculous. So, yeah, I'm totally steeped in Harry Potter lore.
Anyway,
Black Hound was a Baldur's Gate 3 concept. Again, it was something that was done under Interplay, so they would own the rights to whatever was done there. And rights ownership and legal is basically a way to make me start cutting corners off of boxes in my office. So, if someone wanted to make a Black Hound inspired module, I'm totally cool with you going ahead and doing it. As for us, we're going to do stuff that's new that we can basically own and roll.
Sawyer's just finishing up Deadfire, so he's probably got like nothing to do. Yeah. So just reach out to him.
I've heard
and be
that
like,
shipping games is a really, really calm and easy time.
System design months ago.
Sitting back,
nothing
going
doop-a-doop-a-doo. Obsidian's got nothing lined up.
Can we
nothing
press
to
the
do.
button yet? Can we ship this yet?
So, hound them. Maybe hound.
We got some features in Neverwinter as well. LAN enumeration has been improved. Find multiple servers on the same host. So this will allow you to stack them high.
So if you've got that single box that's running 18 instances of a server.
Yep.
Why would you do that?
Because you want to test your processor. You want to see,
true.
When does it catch on fire, mommy? And the answer is... probably about 16 instances. That'll set it on fire. Server listing speed's been improved. Toolset performance, loading, accessing placeable related functions has been improved. Toolset performance, working with the object tree has been improved. And we've also gone through rendering performance. It's not the Skybox issue. It's other issues that we fixed. Skybox we're still looking at. And the Windows game and server will now use UPnP to automatically attempt a port map. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds awesome.
I used to know what it meant, and then it got replaced with like 18 other acronyms.
Yeah, there's about 3 little parts that I know of what that actually means, and then there's like cobwebs.
Universal plug and play.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what it stands for. I made that up. Question from the audience. Are you going to fix weapon swapping, where you can swap your weapon at the peak of your attack animation to reset the timing and beat the standard attacks per round limit? Or the override 2DAs where you can intentionally add leg to your position checks to let you walk through walls.
Those are both.
Those are both bugs.
Those are pretty in-depth bugs, man. You may have spent a bit of time digging to find those puppies.
Have you ever heard of min-maxing?
Surely
you have.
That is some hardcore min-maxing.
No, throw it on the list. We'll look at it.
I think start a public discussion on it. We'll poke it into the list and we'll take a look at it. The whole combat round, I'm angry. I'm going to go cut a box up.
Anytime you translate D&D to a real-time scenario, you're going to introduce weirdness because D&D is a turn-based system that you're trying to translate to real-time, and yeah, there's going to be stuff. But please add that bug.
Neverwinter's complicated because animation, rules, and networking are all intermashed together, trying to make a high-fidelity simulation of what happens in a 6-second D&D round. And when you get an ultra high level character with an offhand weapon that's hasted, you can get, I believe it's up to 5 attacks or 6 attacks a round. And if you throw in the time you have to reserve to play any kind of, oh, I've taken a hit or any other kind of feedback, the animation basically has milliseconds to blip from animation to animation. So that's why we created flurries. A flurry literally takes the animation, it plays the first third of the first swing animation, plays the middle third of the second animation, and then plays the first one again.
Animation blending. Just add it to the
So no, it blends, but you needed to chop together. Well, we could have made a custom animation that played 3 attacks in less time, but at that point our animators were totally busy making a cinematic that had nothing to do with the game.
And
but we won't go there.
2002.
I may be bitter about that.
The guy hammering the thing, isn't that where you draw your inspiration from? Lord Nasher beating the piss out of his sword?
You don't beat the piss out of a sword when it's
already done.
Yeah, his sword's done, dude. Sharpen that puppy and
he
you're
was
done.
trying to ruin it.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna take it, make it hot. Another question. As the character models get improved, do you know if you will continue to use the Neverwinter style phenotypes with just more complexity to maintain backwards compatibility, or you will convert to a more traditional mesh that is rigged and weight painted like other games generally use?
There's been a lot of discussion in either direction on that.
I think the master plan is to take a half step now and kind of stick with the kind of a mix of hierarchical and skeletal mesh, and then rolling forward we'll kick over more to the mesh side.
Yeah. So like the new content, anything we build there, we're going to err on the side of modern stuff, but it's critically important to us that we maintain backwards compatibility.
Yeah, we can't just say all models are now skin-based and everything you've previously made explodes in a smoky pile. We can't really get away with that.
So it sucks to maintain 2 different paths for this sort of thing, but maybe that's going to be necessary.
I think down the road that might be the way we go in terms of creating some new content.
Ooh,
another
good question. Will we ever get total control over our henchmen? I assume they mean like Baldur's Gate style control where you can directly select MON and tell her to go over there.
This should be, we need to talk about this one. This one needs discussion because fundamentally, I mean, I see an easy way to do this, which is to allow you to just essentially DM style possess your henchmen and control exactly what they do. But I'm assuming that people actually want a Baldur's Gate, select my entire party, run them over here.
Yeah.
Now, my philosophy with Neverwinter was it's always around that main character, and the main character is always in the center of the screen, and everything happens around that main character. I don't want to break that. I don't want to have a mishmash of Baldur's Gate / Neverwinter control. So the concept of possessing henchmen and issuing them orders and having them not do stupid things, just following your orders, plausible. I'm not saying we're going to work on it, but it's plausible.
Well, it's not even really necessarily a technical challenge. Like, we know how to do it, but it's more that changes the game.
Well, beyond that, it's like, okay, what's the UI? How do I switch?
Yeah.
Now that I've got control of my other guy, how do I get control back? We had to add user interface elements to control swapping back and forth.
Although we did do a prototype. You remember in Grudge Hounds, we had KOTOR-style swapping for your party. We had a very early implementation of it. You couldn't select them like you could in BG, where it's box select. I have 3 guys selected. All 3 of you move here. But it was
swap.
Like swap KOTOR style.
Yeah.
So on the back end, like I'm pretty sure we understand how to do it, but it's such a balance and gameplay change that it might only make sense for other future products.
Yeah. Next question. Will we be getting Jeremy Soule to work on new music for future NWN content and expansions?
Yeah, man. You got a big sack with a $sign on it that you're going to bring over?
Jeremy's a little expensive, I'll give you that, but he does good work.
He does do good. I still listen to the Icewind Dale soundtrack. It is legendarily good. Good work, Jeremy.
Yeah. Icewind Dale sounds really nice.
So if you're asking...
The Neverwinter stuff was really good as well, but, I mean, ultimately... we'll find composers who can kind of hit the tone we're after, and we like working with new and upcoming people who are. We want to give people some opportunities here.
I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get Sam Hewick to do the music at my funeral, so we're pretty tight with him. I think the specific question around Jeremy Soule is, if Neverwinter modules are popular enough to justify that kind of spend, then hell yes, I would love to do that. So buy the modules we make. Question from the audience: is it possible / feasible to add in raycasts to scripting or something to create new lines for line of sight checks and whatnot? So they're basically asking, can I draw a line from point A to point B, check if there's anything interrupting it, and then draw data from that? Maybe, I don't know. What do you think?
I think the way you can do that, so it's really about a lot, like scripting access to things is just us literally writing a window into the code for the scripting. So it'd be script do raycast or whatever is how we would kind of build it. It's plausible, really, if we can understand kind of the use case scenarios around it. So discuss it on the forums, talk about what you want to use it for and what you want to do with it. You mentioned clean for new line of sight checks and so on. Try and think about every case you want to use it for, and then we can think about the right way to do it. Oh, we got a request here. Can you show us a window of the internal bug report?
What do they want to see?
They probably want to see a number. How many bugs are there internally in the game? So
I don't want you to see that.
No, nobody wants to see that. That's sad. That's just a sad number. So the truth of a game is any game, when you're going through development, bugs pile up. Like not just hundreds of bugs, but thousands, in some case tens of thousands of bugs. And the game will ship with bugs in it. And sometimes those bugs are, I didn't get my pet feature that I wanted. Someone on the dev team puts it in there. And the end result is, yeah, whatever.
You should
We're totally not going to do your feature, Phil.
You should see the bugs that I filed before Siege shipped. I don't think we can go public with those because I used some very strong language.
There was color in his language.
One day there's one particular ticket I might dig out, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, let's play Neverwinter.
Okay. Here's a question. Any future to redo the SSI Gold Box games?
Oh, man, I'd love to do that.
Gold Box games are a little tied up from a right standpoint, so we have poked that charcoal, and
you
the
can
answer is not right now.
You can buy the SSI Gold Box games from one source right now, and there is a reason for that. Other games, though, what about Eye of the Beholder or Dungeon Hack?
I loved Eye of the Beholder. I thought that was awesome.
It was good. There was a trilogy. That was a good-ass game.
Here's a comment that Trent would make a fine main character. A blacksmith who makes his own legendary sword and goes adventuring.
He's already in the game as one of the portraits.
Dorn. But to me, this feels like my Ultima Online experience, where I'm like, I'm going to do the thing, I'm going to make it awesome. So I become a tailor, and I make skullcaps, and I spent days and days making skullcaps in the game, so I could finally get a sword and some armor. Went out in the wilderness, got killed by a deer, dropped my sword and my armor, and had to go back to town, spawn back in, and get back to making skullcaps. So that would probably happen to me. I would make my sword, I would take my armor, I would go out adventuring and die horribly, and whoever came along next would find my sword and say, hey, nice sword, thanks.
The follow-up statement was that Phil would make a cool wizard that he meets on the road with a cat familiar. So I basically am Baloth in that I came up with him, and I wrote his initial little bit, and then later Andrew Foley took him over. Baloth is very similar to the D&D character that I typically play.
So what you're saying is it's basically Dorn and Baloth going an adventure, and it's kind of like Dumb and Dumber, only there's no P on the scooter.
Every single night they wake up with a knife at their throat. But no, I think I told the story a few streams ago of my D&D character Marduk, the Duergar wizard. He's pretty much Baloth. Like, he's a complete dick who's constantly trying to screw the party over for his own personal gain, and loves alliteration when I can do it on the fly. It's hard to do speaking. It's easy to write alliteration, but
yes,
it's hard to
that would
to
totally
do it on the fly.
totally. Here's a question to me, Trent. How do you explain D&D to a person who has never heard of it or seen it, and how would you ease them into the gameplay of a D&D campaign?
This is actually an interesting problem that Wizards of the Coast is also facing when they're trying to bring D&D to like new markets in Asia and Southeast Asia and Africa and whatnot.
I would say that Dungeons and Dragons is a framework within which you can play fantastic stories with a group of friends, with one person moderating the experience.
I'm lost. You gotta go explain it like I'm 3.
I used a lot of words.
Explain it like I'm 3.
Okay.
Below 5.
Gee, that's hard for me.
Sorry, I'm just killing chickens.
D&D is all about playing fantastic adventures with friends, and that there's a person who oversees it called the DM. And how would I explain it other than that? That's pretty much it.
Storytelling with military ranks. There you go.
Not sure where that came from.
There's a commander, and then there's the privates who are doing what the commander. I'm off in the woods
You're
here.
totally off in the woods. There's dead things all over the place.
There are dead things all over the place.
I see dead things, Phil.
I'm in a marsh. It's nice.
It's T-shirt time.
T-shirt time. All right, let's give it a T-shirt.
So the winner of the T-shirt.
Is it this T-shirt?
It could be.
So what's up with the Neverwinter logo? What is that thing?
That is the lizard eye. So the concept of Neverwinter is that there's the return of an ancient lizard cult.
Right.
And this is a symbol. This is their symbol, the eye.
So fill me in on this lizard group.
No.
You don't want to talk about the lizard people?
Don't want to go there.
You don't want to
I don't want to spoil
people?
the story that's been out for however many years that many people have probably played through. So the winner of the T-shirt is Snark Victory. I'm not sure why you need snark on your victory. When I have victory, there is no snark.
Man, snark after you beat somebody is like the cherry on top of the sundae. Just takes it from here to here,
Phil, you're a bad person.
It's like adding salt to your chocolate milk.
You're just a bad person.
I attacked some chickens earlier, so I think all animals are hostile to me now. But I don't know if that's the case. This deer could just be hostile in general to humans.
I think, Phil, in the world, all things are hostile to you.
Yeah, it's true. I usually do start my introductions with people by striking them with a sickle. Wait, what is this? Is this a sickle?
That is a sickle.
Yes. Hey, bugbears.
Yay! Everybody loves bugbears.
Hey, bug buddy.
Whoa, here's a question. What question should we be asking that we don't know we should be asking because no information has been public yet? You should be asking when Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition is shipping.
Yeah, when's Neverwinter going to ship?
So,
well, I guess we're not supposed to tell that yet.
Yeah.
Jonathan, the product owner for Neverwinter Nights, sent me a message this morning, and he's like, "Don't announce the release date for Neverwinter Nights." And I was like, "Okay, I won't." So
just for you, hey, what a surprise! Phil died.
It's because I was telling people about the release date. This is important stuff.
Whatever you got to tell yourself, dude.
And now I'm in hell.
Whatever you got to sell, whatever way you got to spin the
fact
that you
man, it's
died
the
again.
Guardian of Time. What is this place? You are between worlds and time. I'm gonna do this in a bit of a southern drawl. You are my guest, neither alive nor dead. What lies before you is the epicenter of a vast whirling cosmos. While chaos reigns supreme beyond this domain, I exercise complete control within this realm.
I believe that your southern accent is hurting the integrity of said text.
Okay, I'll change it up for the player character. My quest is not over yet. How can I return? Every effort requires a price. If you wish to rejoin your previous existence, then you simply need to pay. No price is too great. Send me back. Well, that was easy.
No price is too great.
Need that Staples button.
Easy.
XP loss, GP loss.
Yeah.
What does God need with pocket change?
He needs your XP. Dude's got a level, dude.
I can understand getting a little forgetful after dying.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
I have forgotten how to do the thing that I once did.
Is there anyone else online? Nope, just me.
Used to
Wait,
carry
there is.
Onion on my belt.
Popo-chan, where are you? What have you seen? Who are you?
There he is.
Oh, it's a
Nope,
survivor.
Survivor.
Not for long, buddy.
Why are you such an ass? Everybody's going to be hostile and hate you, and this is why you die all the time.
It's called role-playing. I'm a fighter druid. I have problems with the world.
I think that's you projecting yourself into the character.
Oh, wait. No, he's just a druid.
Here's a question. Will you modify the spell books, making it easier for modders to add new spellcasting classes and prestige classes? Ultimately, that's a goal. It's going to take us a while to get there. That is like 3 or 4 steps down the road. Fix the UI. After fixing the UI, open up spells. After fixing that, open up the ability to mod spells and mod UI. So eventually we will get there, but that is down the road a ways.
Another question from the audience. Any word on maybe looking at getting the rights to Sword Coast Legends and finishing that game? Well, that game did get finished.
I mean, we had discussions around Sword Coast Legends and potentially what we as a company could bring to it. And While I liked elements of what they did, I was really not excited by the concept of crawling around through somebody else's code and trying to figure out what the hell did what.
Yeah, I think I like Sword Coast Legends, to be honest. I think it's a cool game. There were obviously issues with the messaging because people's expectations were different from what the game actually was. But at the same time, like, to face that uphill battle of taking ownership of the game, finishing it off, rebuilding the connection you have with the community, shaking off the perceptions of the original base game, that's a really tough battle to fight.
And one of the things I look at is, okay, you grab a game that had a rough launch. You can't get rid of those initial reviews. They're always going to hang around. When somebody searches Sword Coast Legends, it's going to be the original launch reviews that get read. Even if you make an awesome game out of it, the default search experience is going to be, this game launched rough and I hope you die in a fire.
So my initial idea was like, hey, if we're going to pursue this idea, I think the smart thing to do would be just sprint directly to Sword Coast Legends 2 and make that your focus. But again, like, such an uphill battle.
Well, it's Unity based and working off the Unity tech base. I mean, Unity's pretty good for smaller scale teams, but once you get above about 10 people, you start stomping each other's files pretty regular. And the amount of spite and anger that emerges from that is shocking.
To me, to do a Sword Coast Legends 2 right, it would be UE4 based. You'd bring the editor back in some capacity so that it's not all just auto-generate the dungeon and then I as the DM can play in there. I'd bring back an editor in some capacity. Maybe not as fully featured as the tool set. Maybe that's not
coming
an
soon,
attainable
Phil
goal.
will launch the Tales of the Sword Coast, Legends of the Sword Coast to Kickstarter, asking for $30 million to make an Unreal game out of it.
Hey man, if you're straight up and you're like, listen, I'm gonna make Neverwinter Nights again, and it's called Sword Coast Legends 2, and I need this money to make the editor that you actually want and that you were begging for in the first game,
and it will cost $30 million.
I mean, maybe that's a bit high for Kickstarter, but I'm sure people would be interested.
I believe that Kickstarter, I think, 4 million is about the highest I've seen on there.
That's the downside of Kickstarter. People keep asking us, why don't you guys go to Kickstarter? Why don't you do something on there? And it's because that's kind of the playground that you get. Is
although we could sell spaceships.
We could sell
spaceships. I've heard that selling spaceships is really profitable.
That is a lucrative industry.
Sword Coast Legends 2, buy your spaceship here.
I think we should launch a D&D cryptocurrency. And you can use it as experience. You can pay your DM to get favors.
Oh wow!
Maybe be a lot of value there.
D&D coin. We'll do the ICO.
Sorry, I spotted a deer. I have to fight them. And it's so cute too. It's got like the classic doe eyes.
Those are beautiful eyes, man.
And it's standing there as I slash at its neck with a sickle.
Why are you killing me? I am so peaceful.
If there were no engine restrictions, what spell would you most love to add to Neverwinter Nights? Oh man, I would add those cinematic spells from PST, like Desert Hell, the ones that teleport you to like a different plane of existence to run a train through somebody.
Spawn dragon in orbit. Dragon shoots fire beam down, which scorches. Spawn other dragon over here.
Hell yeah.
Dragon in bizarro nether plane spits.
If restrictions weren't an issue and I was playing Neverwinter on a Persistent World server, I'd also love the ability to cast Mage Hand. Because you can just do so much with Mage Hand. You can pick objects up. You can tickle someone behind their ear. You can, pretty much just those two things.
Fly.
But,
the spell fly.
Yeah, spell fly would be awesome. Oh, an orc.
Not only an orc with a double axe.
I'm probably fine. Oh, he knocked me down.
Here's a question. My old Persistent World, after some uptime, eventually ran into what we called merchant lag, that hit the entire server when a player sold items to a store with a large inventory. I always assumed this was due to the sorting algorithm used in the stores. Is this assumption correct? And if so, is the sorting algorithm bubble sort? The truth is I have no clue if that is the exact problem or not.
But we'll fix it.
General rule of thumb is we made a game, and some cases got optimized and some didn't. And Persistent Worlds, like, we never actually ran a Persistent World internally with merchants running long enough that people sold stuff to actually see this was a problem. And I think that's why it's a lot of fun to work with kind of Persistent Worlds, like the...
Turns out when you turn a game into an MMO 100 times over, you discover several issues.
You discover things you failed to optimize. So, I mean, we're working with the community. When we find something slow, we're like, why is that slow? Is it a bubble sort? Typically, we tried to do more efficient sorts. At least a quick sword.
It does string comparisons on every single item.
That would be Baldur's Gate.
Oh god, yeah, probably.
Oh, somebody commenting saying Arcanum Enhanced Edition would be nice.
This comes up every single damn stream. Arcanum Enhanced Edition. Should we just knock on their door again?
Nah.
Let's knock on their door again just to say we did it to put these people at ease, because they're gonna keep asking for Arcanum.
Why don't you do that, Phil? Why don't you reach out?
All right.
Talk to
Give me
the
his
boys.
email. I'll email him. Email regarding Arcanum Enhanced Edition.
Jesus, Phil. Were you a doctor in a previous life? Because that's some.
I'm channeling the spirit of several doctors.
That's some handwriting.
Question from the audience. Are you going to allow us to buy more than one item at a time instead of having to use the radial menu over and over and over again to buy multiples of one item? We could make the interface for buying multiple items better, although I don't think we're going to set up a select multiple items, build up your shopping cart, and then purchase.
So part of
don't
the reason,
expect that.
Yeah, part of the reason for this was Neverwinter was set up to specifically block item dupes in multiplayer, so forcing you to do essentially singular transactions. That said, this again, to me, ties into the UI. And when we rework the UI, this is something we can take a look at.
So like a real easy fix would be, so you can see I've right-clicked on an item, it brings up the radial. We have one option that's buy. We could add buy 2, buy 5, buy 10, buy 20.
Buy N.
Yeah. So we can absolutely look at it, but I don't think you can expect us to set up something where you can select multiple things and then hit a single buy button.
Yeah.
Have you guys tried Neverwinter Nights in VR? It was discovered that Vorpax works with Neverwinter Nights, and it's absolutely beautiful. I actually have not. I was meaning to try it in Vorpax, but I had a feeling that it was going to break horribly because, you know, it doesn't do things the way that most engines do. But it's interesting to know that it does work with Vorpax. I should try that at some point. What I really hate about Vorpax, and it's not a criticism I have with Vorpax so much as it's not physically possible to do this, is that it still always ties your camera and your crosshair view to the center of your vision. So to aim at somebody, you have to crane your neck around rather than just moving the crosshair independently of your head. Now, that's just an issue that you can't resolve in most game engines because they don't separate those two things.
Well, having that whole Neverwinter, the camera pivots around the character, it's going to be weird. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to fly the camera around the character?
Luckily, I think you need to actually install a mod, but you can do first person in Neverwinter if you hack at it enough.
Well, you can go third person over the shoulder chase cam.
You can do this, but I know I've seen first person in Neverwinter before. So in that mode, it would probably actually work quite well because movement and looking are separate from one another. It's like you're steering a mad cat around. Rocket pod.
Got another question here. Are you fixing IE fuzzy pathfinding with monks or boots of speed? So I think that ultimately comes down to the monks and boots of speed moving quite quickly. And I'm not sure what fuzzy pathfinding is.
So the question is really, are you going to keep making pathfinding in IE better? Pathfinding in IE will be a battle that never ends. Just by the nature of the way the game was constructed, pathfinding is never going to be perfect unless we were to rebuild it.
The game map that you look at is way higher resolution than the actual pathfinding map that it's running around on. So as a result, there's just not that high of a fidelity to the pathfinding map. I mean, going in and redoing it at this point, it's something we're probably not interested in.
The problem with pathfinding, like if it were a self-contained system that, lifted right out, hey, great, yeah, we'd love to work on that. But pathfinding is intertwined into so much of the core game experience that changing it breaks so many things that you do not anticipate.
Yep.
So it's an unfortunate reality of how the engine was built.
The general rule, someone was clever. Anytime someone was clever, it
Too
basically
clever by
means
half.
somebody who comes in after the fact gets a nightmare.
A question from the audience. Sorry if this was asked before. I can't often make these streams. Will you be making another new game or expansion of a game soon? I've been playing Siege of Dragonspear finally. Yes, new content is coming. We are currently working on a few different D&D concepts, actually.
So that sounds like an IE question. So there's nothing. We're not ready to talk about anything on the IE side.
Yeah, so
IE is a real bear to create new content for, so we're a little scared of that. because Dragonspear cost us a whole ton of money to make.
Ask me again in 4 months.
We're going to give away another T-shirt, the last T-shirt of the day, and it goes to Lady of Dungeons, which is actually a pretty epic name, by the way.
Lady of Dungeons.
It's like Lady of Pain, only Lady of Dungeons.
They were friends in high school.
I believe they were.
Lady of Pain went on to have a pretty fantastic solo career, but Lady of Dungeons just kind of stuck around hometown.
They both hung out in like the bad kid area.
I was gonna make a basement joke, but
thinking
you
they were
know,
all,
dungeon. But
they were all gothy, especially Lady of Pain. She's really quiet. She didn't say much.
And I'm the Mister of Juggling.
I believe you would have been, Phil.
Oh, Brown Bear. Hey, Brown Bear.
Brown Bear's going to eat you.
Not with this sickle in his forehead. Oh, he's uninjured after I hit him.
Brown Bear is shrugging off your sickle.
It keeps getting caught in his coarse fur.
Here's a question. What about Deity in Neverwinter Nights 1? Will it be developed?
Deity?
Deity.
What is that?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I know what he's talking about. In character creation, let's just go look at this real quick.
As Bear kills you. Go, Bear.
I'm
Go,
retiring
Bear.
undefeated.
Him,
what are you talking about?
Take him down, Bear.
All right, let's create a new character.
Is that where you select your deity? In the
Actually, let me import a character. Yeah. So if you import or pre-made or whatever.
That's the problem with making games is you basically kind of forget what game has what features in it. And you're like, oh my god, I remember something about that, but I don't remember what.
Yeah.
So Phil worships Borat.
I don't actually know. Is that string exposed on multiplayer servers so that persistent world servers can use it? Because I think you can read that from a character.
That I don't know.
Anyways, if it's not currently used, it was there just mainly for flavor and
good rule of thumb is our ability to magically interpret what features you want is non-existent. So if you tell us by bringing it up in a discussion on the community, getting it voted up onto the board, we can make that thing happen. Oh, another topic we never talked about. There was recently an open letter posted on the forums to me, specifically around the official campaign.
Oh, that, yeah. What's going on with that thing?
Yeah, so people want to restore and expand the official campaign. Now, from my side, I don't want to go back and retread the official campaign. I've talked about the director's cut and what I would cut. I think a lot of that is just kind of streamlining the experience is what I would like to do from that perspective. That said, I haven't committed to it. I've just been poking it, seeing what would this be like. From a community and from like a restoring content standpoint or finishing content that was never there. So here's what you do. You go in, you grab the NVM file, which is the Neverwinter module. You pull it out, you throw it in your module directory, you rename it .mod, and you can totally go through and mod the game to be what you want. What I would suggest you do, figure out a way that people can work on it together, and you guys go through and you restore the stuff and do the official community edition of the module. Now, my suggestion to that is, in order to avoid war and stabbings and fighting, you agree to only add new content that was originally proposed or started. And if you ask about stuff, I mean, I can dig through the design docs and see what we've got that comments on those plots, but I think a lot of them aren't that well documented. So if you find some content in the module that speaks about this plot, that's probably all that exists about it.
So they had cut the whole race car portion where you go out to the Neverwinter landing strip, and you just kind of tear around in your Forgotten Realms hot rod. So if you can find the scripting and the source models for that, I'm sure Trent would appreciate adding that back. Because the physics in the engine just weren't up to the task at the time, so they had to...
You're a funny guy, Phil. So there was a question, am I going to make more weapon models for the game? My skills in the art side have atrophied somewhat. I can make real weapons, but making them in tools, I'm not quite as good as I once was. And art got better looking. and I can't quite compete at that level. That's why I'm a CEO and not an artist anymore.
Those who cannot do,
it's important to realize when you hit the limit of your capabilities. And my arting is not so good anymore.
That's why I stopped shaving. I just was bad at it.
You were bad at shaving? I can fix that for you. I'll shave you, Phil.
All right, folks, we'll see you next week without any skin on my face.
And with that bit of workplace harassment, we will end this stream.
All right, so just to wrap things up here, Siege of Dragonspear is coming to Android and iOS on March the 8th.
Yep.
And you'll be able to pick it up then and enjoy it. It's got a whole bunch of great new features from Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition, as well as just tons and tons and tons of bug fixes, improvements, and tweaks to the game. And the 2.5 patch for all of the Infinity Engine games on all platforms will be coming soon after Siege of Dragonspear is available on mobile, probably just a few weeks after that. And we're going to be doing a localization update to that beta in the near future. So if you're looking for some new languages in Baldur's Gate 2, 1, or a new VO in Icewind Dale, come check it out. I think we're adding a whole bunch of new languages. I think Korean is coming. A lot of stuff's coming. And as well, Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition has been updated to the latest development version, 8162. If you head over to Beamdog or Steam, you can grab that right now and start checking it out. And last but not least, Beamdog is hiring. So please go to beamdog.com/jobs to check out the available positions we have open right now.
And check out the very Shackleton-esque description of said hiring.
He wrote that.
I did.
And he means it.
I'm totally ripping Shackleton on that.
All right, folks, we will see you next week. And until then, enjoy Neverwinter Nights. And I hope you're salivating for Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear.
In the meantime, and in between time, that's another edition of our stream.
There you go. See you guys.